If you want to lose weight or honestly achieve any goal, then it's reasonable to assume that you'll need to stick to a program or routine and be consistent. And the secret to being consistent with your diet and your exercise is right here. Before I realized that I don't just need to train my pecs, I also need to train my brain, I was struggling with my weights. Not for lack of knowledge, mind you, it's because I just couldn't stick to a program or a goal. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about how understanding that the brain can be trained just like any muscle group greatly helped me achieve my goals. Hey everyone, welcome to the video. My name is Andreas Christou. I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics. On this channel, we're going to be analyzing and discussing the science behind many nutrition and fitness related topics, but also the mindset and the psychology that comes into play when you're trying to stay healthy and in shape. Now, this video isn't some sort of special brainwashing technique that's going to help you lose 10 pounds in a week. No, this video is just an honest talk of how you can build yourself up for success. If you don't want to be that person that, gets all excited and starts a new program or routine and then ultimately gives up after 3 weeks, then keep watching. Now, you might be wondering, how can you train your mind? Can it be trained like any other muscle group? Well, kinda. You see, to train our muscles, we subject them to some sort of stimulation or stress. For example, you can train your chest with the bench press because it forces it to push under a load. Hopefully the load is ample enough so that your muscles are going to be forced to adapt and get bigger and stronger. Well, the same principle of exposing what we want to train to a stressor also applies to our brain. Here's a question: if you had to choose one single characteristic that successful people, not just in fitness but in life in general, possess, what would that characteristic be? Personally, I would say that it's discipline. I think it's unreasonable to assume that successful people in fitness never crave junk food, or that they never feel lazy and tempted to skip a workout. It's just that successful people have the discipline to reject those feelings and stick to their routine. So if you wanted to train your mind to be more disciplined, how would you go about it? Well, the first thing is by simply being aware that your mind is something that can be trained. By simply being aware and conscious that your decisions act like training, then you open yourself up for the possibility of improving. Every time you experience a craving or an impulse that you know you shouldn't indulge in, it's like life giving you a dumbbell. You either choose to lift the dumbbell and train, or drop the dumbbell and say, F***. Every time you reject instant gratification and don't indulge in something you know you shouldn't be indulging in, you train your discipline to be stronger. You teach your brain that you're not going to be swayed every time, and as a bonus, cravings and impulses may actually start to get weaker. Now, if you were a beginner and it was like your third time in the gym, you probably wouldn't put 300 pounds on the barbell and try to bench it. You would start with a lighter load, perhaps even the empty barbell. The same also holds true for your mind. Now, let me give you a scenario that I'm sure a lot of you see quite often, and maybe even you yourself do it from time to time. So you have your average Joe that wants to change his life, that wants to turn his life around, and decides to start working out and eating healthy. Now, keep in mind that currently average Joe's diet isn't so great and he's not exercising consistently. So average Joe gets pumped up and says, this is the time that I'm going to turn my life around, that I'm going to stop all those unhealthy habits and generally become a healthier person. He may decide to stop eating junk food, exercise regularly, maybe even quit smoking or drinking. And then inevitably, after 3 weeks of trying, he starts falling back on his old habits, and then before you know it, he's back to his old self again. Now, while it's very admirable for someone to want to turn their life around and change for the better, this isn't the way to go. You wouldn't assume that you could run a 20-kilometer marathon if you couldn't even jog for 2 minutes. So why would you assume that you can radically change your life within a week if you haven't even built the correct mindset and the correct habits for it? If you had zero stamina and wanted to run a marathon, then a more reasonable approach would be to start by simply jogging or maybe even walking to gradually build up and improve your endurance. And the same holds true for your discipline. Start by denying yourself some small pleasures. Maybe it's holding off on that sweet after lunch. Maybe it's by swapping fries with some cooked rice or vegetables. Hell, it could be something that's completely unrelated to fitness. For example, holding off on Netflix until you finish your work or your homework. Find a level or a point that you can reasonably stick to and try to build up your discipline. As you become gradually more disciplined, then you can start to control more intense cravings and impulses. Always keep in mind that every single time you experience a craving or an impulse, it's a training opportunity. Keep that up for a while and you'll notice that you'll become much more resistant to impulses, much more disciplined and much more restrained. And of course, you're not always going to succeed in being disciplined. You're going to fail a bunch of times, much like me every time I go for a new 3-rep max at the gym. This is part of it and don't let it discourage you. The important thing is that you always try to train your discipline and your mindset. I'm going to be releasing videos that are going to help in this matter, so stay tuned. In any case, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like ratings are very much appreciated, and also feel free to subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.